homepage.com. There we'll also post our interview with Representative Womack, who's back in the 3rd District tonight and joining us to talk more about the recent happenings in Congress.
That's right. He's here with us right now on the news desk. And Congressman, if you can just kind of start, thank you again for coming in. If you can kind of start, talk about this conflict that's going on in Libya. What are your thoughts about the U.S. involvement?
Well, first of all, it's a very difficult time for the Middle East, as we've seen with the domino effect of a number of countries in Tunisia and Egypt and Bahrain, and this the domino effect continues to fall. Look, we've been in a couple of very long, protracted wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and it's understandable why people, I think, would look at involvement in another military operation with some level of jaundice, perhaps. But look, no people anywhere deserve to be persecuted by a rogue dictator. And so I support the President in our attempt to create the type of cover over the country, the no-fly zone, if you will, that does not permit this rogue dictator and his military to use aerial platforms to gun down people, his own people. But at the end of the day, what is our long-term strategy? What will our involvement be over the long haul? Will there be troops on the ground? These are all questions that we need to have answered, and answered very quickly. But it's a very difficult time in the Middle East.
For people who don't know, Congressman Womack is a retired colonel from the military, so that's another reason to ask his expertise. But a lot of gas price talk right now, with gas prices going up, people turning to alternative fuel sources. Some people questioning, is this the time to repeal a credit for people using that?
Well, first of all, my bill that was introduced last week mirrors a bill offered by Senator Coburn from Oklahoma. And all it does is it eliminates the 45 cent a gallon credit, the volumetric ethanol excise tax credit that big oil gets. It costs billions of dollars, and it's not necessary. My bill does nothing to change the renewable fuel standards that were implemented in 2005 and have been amended since then. I'm a big believer that we've got to find a way to wean ourselves off of foreign oil. But here's where I stop, and that is taking food acreage and taking cornstuffs and converting it to fuel to answer a fuel crisis, but creating another crisis at the end of the day that is in regard to food prices. And, you know, we just talked about the Middle East. Remember, part of the problem in Egypt was about food. Mm-hmm. People going hungry, high unemployment, high cost of foodstuffs, and I don't want to see that happen to the United States of America. And it's already costing jobs, 180 jobs recently from a local poultry company because of the high cost of feeding chicken and other protein. And I just don't think it's right to trade food acreage for fuel acreage, given the climate we're in.
This is a bipartisan effort as well.
Yes.
You're not the only one. People across the aisle are saying the same thing. And not only, I'm guessing, would this be a crisis when it comes to food prices, but I read that you said that ethanol really doesn't live up to its billing. It's not a great renewable fuel.
Well, it's not. It's less efficient in the way it's burned. And I had a gentleman today from over in Madison County who's a gentleman that I have a great deal of respect for that said just consider the amount of cost it takes to just grow corn to begin with, all the energy that goes into just planting corn, to harvest corn, and when you add up all of those input costs, at the end of the day, this becomes very, very bad economic policy and flawed energy policy.
You guys have been making a lot of cuts, and we're talking about billions of dollars in cuts. What's next on the agenda?
Well, first of all, we have to get beyond April the 8th. You know, we just passed a 3-week CR because we're not getting a lot of help on the other side of the Capitol, but we had a 2-week CR that cut $2 billion a week, so there was $4 billion, and we just passed a 3-week CR that cut another $2 billion a week, so we've already cut $10 billion out of the largest precision, I think, in the history of our country from a continuing resolution standpoint. We have to continue to fund government for 2011 through the 30th of September. This is a terribly inefficient way to run a government, but it's the hand that we've been dealt. We didn't have a budget last year.
Right.
And so we have a lot of work to do, and let me remind you that at the same time, we have the 2012 budget to worry about and the appropriations bills that we'll be working on this summer, and we've also got a major vote coming up on debt ceiling increase that will happen sometime in the April-May timeframe.
So,
busy man.
A lot to get done. Congressman Womack, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure.
Nice to have you.